everyone. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Showcase Series brought to you by Patranya Media LLC and Parkway Media Partners. I'm your host, Patranya Poonswan. Today we have in our studio a very special guest. We have Karl Maisner. He's the president of a Las Vegas business called KMJ, and also with him, Franisha Hayes, who's a marketing strategist of this company as well. Thank you so much to you both for being here today.
Thank you for inviting us.
So great to have you. KMJ, we're going to talk about your business and what you do. We're highlighting, of course, entrepreneurs, small businesses, big businesses, nonprofits, everyone under the sun. But we wanted to showcase on this show what makes you unique as a business. And I think, you started this business, Karl, you said 22 years ago. That's now.
Correct, yeah.
So it's been quite a journey since you started KMJ, which used to be, I think, web design, right? That was how you started, but now you do a lot more than web design. So let's start with that. When you started this business 22 years ago, was that something that you've always wanted to do?
Not at all. Actually, I was working for another company at the time, and they needed a website built. This was just when the internet was starting to gain popularity, and so they decided to up their game a little bit. They sent me to some training to learn how to do it.
So that wasn't even your job,
that was not my job.
Designer or anything like that?
No, I was a project manager for an architecture firm.
I see.
And so I went to do this training. I learned what I needed to do to build their site, and I enjoyed it so much that I started the company a year later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was quick. You knew right away, I think this is my path now.
I enjoyed it.
Was it something that clicked, that you saw, okay, I think this is the way for the future. I'm getting out of this to do something like this?
And I had learned along the way that, a lot of people didn't understand it, didn't know how it worked, how it would benefit them.
Right.
And I felt that I could bring them some value by offering this service. And so that's really what got me started.
So when you started your business, were there, especially here in Las Vegas, was that something pretty new? Were there a lot of other businesses like that out there at the time?
Not a ton. No, just a handful of companies that were doing it. Of course, that's changed now. There's hundreds, thousands of people who build websites these days.
Yeah. And so what was the toughest part? Was it tough for you to transition out of your current job as a project manager into doing your own business? Did you ever think that you would ever start your own business at that point in time?
So my particular story was that I continued to work as a project manager for many years. But in 2008, when the economy tanked and everybody in the construction industry lost their jobs, I did as well. And so I had transitioned to this full time at that point.
It was kind of was it kind of a blessing in a way that happened leading up to where you were?
That's a fair statement.
You needed that to happen.
Yeah, definitely a fair statement.
Yeah. So KMJ, so right now you started web design, but talk to us about what you're offering now as a business, because it expanded way beyond that scope, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, web design was the initial service that we had offered, but by default with that came offering hosting services, domain registration, and things of that sort.
Right.
And then
kind of an all-inclusive kind of, if people need this, they probably need a bunch of these other services.
Right. The idea was, the one-stop shop concept for anybody who needed help with their website, and we would just take the burden off their shoulders and handle it for them so they could focus on their business.
Yeah.
But, as we built relationships with clients and they came to us asking us if we could do more and more things, we started onboarding new services. And so today we also offer, a pretty robust website maintenance service along with, mobile app development and then marketing services as well.
We're talking about marketing it and Franisha, you stepped into the role in the company about 10 years ago.
Yes.
Did you have experience in this field before? What was your journey like?
I was actually in school still for graphic design when I got hired.
So
at
that
KMJ.
was your background, what you wanted to go into.
Yeah. And being hired at KMJ just kind of expanded my mind. And I started thinking, while in school, I wanted to do magazine layouts, working in design and just have fun there in that creative space. Working at KMJ allowed me to realize that being a graphic designer is so much more.
Yeah.
I can design websites. I can design the branding for different companies. So we kind of started going into working on websites and design. I had some background experience from school there as well with the graphic design program. It helped mold my skills, and from there I went to doing some data analyzing and became a data analyst. From there I did SEO So I became an SEO specialist.
So Karl just got you working on everything.
Yeah. So, and now I pretty much know the whole ecosystem for web design and what it takes to marketing. And me personally, I do have a marketing first mindset. So from web design all the way through, I think about it as how we can market your services, your business, your brand.
And Karl, I think she speaks to kind of what you see as your strength of your company. Do you feel like when people come to you, they get a wide scope of expertise and knowledge in whatever they need with the company?
That's a goal for sure. But I would think what really maybe sets us apart a little bit is the customer service, that we actually do care about the client's needs, that they're not just a number and we're not just after making a buck. I want to make sure the clients are happy that they are getting what they need. In fact, my very first client ever from 22 years ago is still with us today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah, we've been very lucky.
The needs have been different, though? I mean, when they started with you, they wanted something. Is it now something that's different from where they started?
Certainly. I mean, clients do grow also, and their needs grow, and so they can lean on us to help them with whatever technology needs that they need.
And I think it's really interesting, you know, because I started my own business about 4 years ago, and I was a journalist all my life. I had no idea, you know, how this whole thing works, but then I kind of learn as I go. Would you say that's kind of been your journey as well? I mean, obviously you didn't intend to go into this career, but you started this. How's that journey been for you?
So I mentioned earlier how clients would come to us with new requests, and in some cases they were things that I had said I would never do because you know, it's not something that I've had a ton of experience with or felt I could offer a lot of value in. But at the end of the day, when the client says, Karl, I really need your help. What am I going to do?
You got to do it.
I'm going to figure it out.
Right. And that's what, I think that's kind of been the surprise of it too. It's like you kind of end up doing whatever your clients are asking you to do. And then you learn as you go. So Franisha, what's been kind of the biggest surprise for you, like coming into this business that you didn't even expect that this was something that you would be doing?
I didn't expect to be marketing, to be
kind of at the core of what you're doing right now.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it so much to where that's all that I can think about.
Why did you not think that you would like it as much?
I think that sales in the past, going from my first job working at Taco Bell and working in call centers, you think that sales is the same thing, you know, these hardcore sales, car salesmen, hey, do you want to purchase this, you know.
It's all push.
Yes, and when you know how to market and you really stand behind the product and service, it's not really sales. People really believe in the product. People believe in the service. So I like the fact that I can change the way that people think about sales.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think people think, like, if you're not really passionate or you don't really love what you do, it's hard to sell it. I mean, has that been true kind of for your experience?
Yeah, I think that if you don't stand behind it, I do agree with that. If you don't stand behind it, you don't understand it, you don't have a passion to market and sell it. And marketing is less about the product and service and more about what the consumer wants and what the consumer needs from that product and service. So when you understand that, you understand how to resonate with your audiences in the right way. So I really love that.
And, you know, when we talk about resonating with the audience, I mean, that's the goal for them to understand the message, right? Like, we're not just about web design. We do a whole bunch of different things. So maybe other entrepreneurs can kind of learn from your experience. What's been kind of that you've learned that worked for you in terms of getting that message out effectively, that this is what you do?
Okay, well, so on the marketing aspect of things, I think it's important to point out that for the longest time, that was the one service I did not want to offer because there's too many people out there who take advantage of business owners when it comes to SEO and online marketing. Because number one, people don't understand how it works, but number two, a lot of these folks are not really educated in it, and you know, they learn what they can on the go and they're not able to deliver the results. And I didn't want to be seen as another company that was doing that. And that actually made it more difficult for Fran because, you know,
people are asking for that, right? Or they're like, why aren't you giving me this?
Right. And at the end of the day, you know, Fran had to figure out a way to make sure that we're educating the clients properly and setting those expectations so they really know what they're getting and what to expect. And, you know, and I think she's been very successful in that. So that speaks a little bit to, you know, what we try to do to
make sure that the customers understand.
Make sure the clients understand that we're doing everything we can, that we're really doing it in their benefit.
And so what I've been and just going through your website, and I try to do this, my guests who come in just to kind of get an idea. If I were a customer who've never heard of KMJ before, and I don't know what you guys do, just want to see if I can find out right away. And it's pretty clear, and I think your website does a pretty good job that you do beyond web design, right? You do... we go with apps now. Now that people are relying on their smartphones, even more than their computers sometimes, apps play a big part, and then marketing, of course, and how you guys all work together for people. Do you feel what's been the most effective way of getting the word out to customers? Is it through, obviously you have your website, your social media and things like that, but what's been the secret for you guys in the last few years?
I have to say the number one way we are growing is by word of mouth. Just referrals. Yeah. Just happy clients who are referring us to other folks. Yeah. We have started delving into more government work, which requires an RFP process and responding to those, and we've won some of those projects. So we've won work that way. And incidentally, one of those clients that we won that work through then referred us to somebody else to do some work. And so that goes back to the referral basis that, we're really building that trust with people, and they trust us to recommend us to other people.
And Franisha was saying, it's really good feeling when people say, hey, I saw that you're working with these people. I heard that, people say you're doing a good job, and that's why we come. And that's important for you, right? Especially from your marketing perspective.
Definitely. Yeah. If testimonials are really important as well in marketing. I know that a lot of owners focus on bring in the revenue, but you can't really bring in revenue without hard case studies and foundations. And a case study doesn't have to be loads of data. It can simply be the experience someone else had using your service.
Yeah, and I know you've been here in this market for over 20 years, but in a way, Vegas doesn't change in a way. It's a small town in many ways, right? People talk about each other, and they know about each other through words of mouth. And that's what you guys have been experiencing too.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So let's talk about your, because I think a big part of successful businesses these days is you have to kind of go beyond the walls of your business and reach out to the community. And I know you guys have been very active in it, and we have some pictures that you've sent us from different events that you've done around town. So Karl, talk to us about that. Did you get into that pretty early on in starting this business and doing things with the community?
Well, I've always been a supporter of community. But early on, admittedly, I don't think I really knew how to get involved. And so about 10 years ago, I had joined Rotary, a service organization. Yeah. And through that, I got exposed to a lot of different opportunities and started bringing some of that stuff into our business. And, just as it turns out, we've ended up doing quite a bit of work for nonprofit clients, some pro bono in some rare cases, and others, we offer a community betterment rate for our nonprofit clients, so we give them a discount on services, which I think they all appreciate.
And I think with this town, especially now that I've worked with a number of nonprofit clients as well, is that it's very kind of very satisfying. When you get to work, especially for an organization that really kind of speaks to what you do. Is that what kind you felt through the work that you've done as well?
Yeah, I love working with nonprofits. The stories, the messaging, the creative behind it's so much more meaningful to me personally because it's helping women, infant children, the things that matter in our society. So as a marketer, I really, really love helping nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, and I'm sure they appreciate the skills and what you bring to the table, especially because a lot of these nonprofits, like you said, don't always have the big budgets that, agencies and corporations and businesses do. And for you, how do you kind of maneuver your business, Karl, in a way that fits your budget, but you're able to still give back in a meaningful way?
It can be challenging. It can definitely be challenging. And so I think it really comes back to my desire to help, which trumps the financial aspect of it in many cases. We just want to help out. One of the organizations that we do work for is the Children's Advocacy Center Foundation, which helps.
Is that based here as well?
It is based here. Yeah. They work with the Clark County CAC.
SNCAC. Clark County,
Southern Nevada CAC, Excuse me. And they help children and families of child abuse and sexual abuse and things of that sort. Pretty heavy topic, but we are working to help them with getting their word out, through social media, and of course we helped with their website and things of that sort. So, that is not a moneymaker for us, but we do it because it needs to be done.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to the importance of that need now, right? Whether you're a big, government agency or a small nonprofit, the importance of having that messaging out there in multi-platforms, right? Not just the website, but also social media. And so, I mean, is it hard sometimes for you to have them understand that, people who can work with you and maybe pay you for services, that these are the needs, like you need to have these? I mean, how do you kind of get that message across to people?
That's Fran's world.
Yeah. I mean, that's your messaging, right?
Yes.
Is it tough sometimes?
Yes, it is. Especially when, outside of us at KMJ, you run your own business, your own entity. Yeah. You have your own ideas. And where we come in is to put our knowledge together with your ideas and kind of try to mold those so that they are the best of the ideas and mapped out the best way. So what I like to do is try to start the process by explaining their goals and what they want to achieve and map that out, make sure that it is...
The communication is clear from the beginning, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Make sure that's set in stone. Yeah. And we set some KPIs so that we know what we're looking at. I see that it's really easy for a lot of people to say, let's say specifically with search and SEO, hey, I realize my key terms are dropping, my visibility is dropping, and all these things. But I educate them that it's going to decline before it's going to go up because we just made some major changes to your content, to your keywords, and then we want to focus on these key terms, not everything. If you focus on everything, you get nothing. And when you drill down and you streamline it, then you actually start to get the results that you're looking for. So just educating through the whole process.
And I think that's what you give people, is not just the product, but just this all around like educational process.
Right. And to add to what she's saying and to answer your question a little bit, sometimes it is a difficult discussion to have with clients to say, we recognize what it is you're trying to achieve, and your budget that you've shared with us may not get you there, and you're going to have to look internally to decide, is this an investment that you feel is going to benefit you in the long run, and then we can actually do the things that we need to do to get them the results they're looking for. But it is a difficult conversation we have to have with clients sometimes.
And I feel like this is the kind of investment, like you said, for you have to ask those tough questions for them sometimes, right? To really look at how they operate and what they're investing their money in, and if this is something that's worth their investment. And I think that's true for any business. I mean, it doesn't have to be web design or, marketing or anything like that. What other advice, Karl, you have for people? You've had this business for over 20 years. A lot of newer people are coming into, whether it be this business or any other business, in terms of launching this and making sure that they're connecting effectively with their potential clients and customers.
So you're asking about other entrepreneurs who are up and coming?
That may be looking to you like, hey, I kind of want to launch. I feel like there's a need for what I'm offering, like what you saw 22 years ago. How can you get started and just say, okay, I'm going in the right direction?
That's a difficult question, I think, because it's going to differ depending on the type of business that somebody is starting. But I would think it's safe to say that any business isn't going to succeed unless customers know you exist. And, having a website and a social media presence, those are generally easy ways to get started in that process. And certainly we could help with that, and there's plenty of do-it-yourself options for folks out there, too, if they wish to go that route. But they're going to have to get out and network, meet people, and let them know that they're there. And that's what
you guys still do, right? I mean, you still go out to events and do things on top of everything else that you're doing?
Absolutely. It should never end, and no business owner should ever think that they don't have to go out and network, because just because you're busy at the moment doesn't mean you're going to stay busy.
Right.
And you got to get out there and make sure people know.
Is that kind of what you've learned over the course of helping to get this business to where it is today, Franisha?
I think that partnerships. So going to network is one thing, but actually having those relationships and connections.
Authentic relationships, right?
Yeah, because 10 years ago when Karl decided to join Latip, I decided to join KMJ, and I was thrown out there.
Yeah.
And I was networking as well, and now it's like me breathing. It just comes naturally.
Yeah.
I know who is possible lead. I know who is just here to fill space and hold a conversation.
Right.
So yeah, definitely networking. It builds some different type of character for you, different type of confidence, and it also opens your eyes as to, what's real in front of you as far as potential for leads, potential for opportunities to grow, other people who will want to take your hand and grow with you.
Yeah.
And so partnerships are important.
Yeah. Touching on the introvertedness of folks, and I think a lot of business owners maybe by default like to be on their own and don't necessarily.
That's why they started their own thing. Yeah.
And they don't necessarily like putting themselves out there and being part of larger groups. But in order for a business to succeed, you've got to get over that.
Yeah.
It's going to be uncomfortable, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And people expect that too, I think.
Yeah.
You get out there and meet people and build those relationships and partnerships and establish that trust. That's huge.
Yeah.
And I've had people that I've met at events 10 years ago who will call me up out of the blue and say, hey, I met you at this thing, however long ago.
You just never know, right?
Yeah.
When you make those relationships that will come back to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I love it because you're really touching on some practical advice. And, and what I do, I used to be a journalist, and at the time, the mantra is not to talk about yourself, is to talk about other people, right? And now, as an entrepreneur, I need to talk about myself. Like you said, nobody would know about you unless you're telling your own story, right?
But it's very much the same.
Yeah.
It's the same for me. I've had that same mindset.
Right.
Don't talk about yourself, talk about
Let
the
the work
client and
speak
what
for
they.
itself.
And I teach the same things for our clients. It's less about you and more about your
what you're
audience
doing
and
for
what
the
they
community,
what
the
they
value
need.
that you bring to the table. Yeah.
But as an entrepreneur, you're very correct. You have to speak about you in order for other people to know about you and to know your strengths. I've done a lot of moving around in the company at KMJ, and not everybody knows all the various things that I am able to do.
Yeah.
Everybody knows me for marketing.
Right. It's not even just about your company, right, Karl? It's about what each person, what Franisha, what other team members are bringing to the table, because that's what makes you unique as a business.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I know we're wrapping up here, but I wanted to get, is there anything that I haven't gotten out there? People have never heard of KMJ and they want to reach out. It's like, hey, Karl, Franisha, what can you do for me? Anything that you want to make sure people know about what you're doing now, especially maybe as you're moving to the future, anything kind of on the horizon that you're looking to do that's different?
So we recently started offering some IT services.
Okay. Was that what's needed? Like, what were you seeing out there in the market?
Again, it was a situation where clients would come to us and ask us if this is something we would do, or if we know somebody. And
that seems a lot on top of everything else you're doing already.
I think, it is a lot, and it is a bit different from what we normally do. But people would come to us and ask us if we know somebody in the industry, and maybe there were a few names I would put out there, here and there. But unfortunately, I think in a lot of those cases, those folks just didn't deliver.
Yeah. And you don't want to refer someone that wouldn't do a good job.
Right. I didn't want to put my name on it anymore.
Of course.
And so I thought, maybe we can alleviate some of this by offering some basic IT services for our clients. And so we just recently this year started offering some cloud-based IT services to help clients with, email.
And that's not what you ever
Office.
thought of be doing, and this is now what you're marketing and telling people that you're doing, right? And how's that been going?
I mean, we're just starting out, but we do have a few clients under our belt, and they seem to be happy with the service we're providing. So we'll keep growing it slowly and steadily over time.
Awesome. So any last message for people out there, Franisha?
I do want to say, since we're talking about our services and how we can help, we are currently running a free SEO audit. So you can go to our website, you can go to our social media. There's tons of posting about it. And the goal with that is to basically let business owners know the foundation they currently have on search. So we let you know your current SEO keyword ranking, your performance and technical issues that's impacting your ranking on your website, all completely for free. And this is a service where other companies would charge $500 or more. So this is ongoing. And we also are hosting webinars. So anybody who is subscribed to our newsletter, as an exclusive to our subscribers, we offer free webinars and training. So you get digital downloads.
And this is a regular thing that you guys are
offering. This is a regular thing.
That's
so
awesome.
Our next webinar will be held next month, and it's all about SEO and content marketing in the same wheelhouse. Cool. So anybody who wants to register, go ahead and subscribe for our newsletter, and you'll get that free webinar link.
Yeah, that's just exciting for you, Karl, to see how far the company has come over the years.
We've turned out quite differently than I expected, but it's been good. We got a great team behind us. Everybody is offering their own unique perspectives on how we can improve the company, and we're just going to continue to keep doing the same thing.
And what's the website people can go to? How's the easiest way to find you?
KMJWebDesign.com.
Okay. Perfect. Well, Karl and Franisha, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story and letting people know more about what you're offering, which is expanding now. So, which is exciting for all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching and listening to this show today. And we'll see you again next time.